how's it going, everybody? Matt, the Helpful Home Inspector, back at you with another live show. I have my buddy Mike up here today. Mike, how you doing today, buddy?
Doing all right.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So we are up here in our Hartford studio, and today we have a great topic and a couple of fun things to do today as well. But today, our main topic that we're going to be talking about is understanding a home inspection report. So what is a home inspection report? What's it made up of? What are the important elements that you got to know about? What is the parts you should focus on? And other parts that are just there for your own personal joy, you know? But ultimately, that's going to be our main topic today. However, we have a lot of fun stuff going on. We got 5 home inspector cuss words. We actually have a whole list of them, but we're going to choose our top 5. We actually have a little bit of a kind of like a top 5 list that everybody's doing these days, which will be kind of fun. That'll be interesting. So, yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a good time. So we have a couple of things to get this whole show started here. We always have our defect of the week. Defect of the week is something we see quite often, and that is dealing with guardrails, right? I mean, this is probably every other house, right? That we're having
pretty much
issues. Yeah.
Handrails, guardrails.
Got to have them, right? Especially for the little ones. It's mainly for little ones, elderly ones, or intoxicated ones. You know who you are. But guardrails are very important, and they should be able to support weight or load, but they shouldn't be able to take a person running full steam into it. That's not what we're talking about. So as far as guardrails go, the main concern with guardrails with little children is that they don't have access to either get through the guardrail, climb the guardrail, or get stuck in the guardrail. Right? So guardrails, basically, they have balusters on them. The pieces go up and down. Sometimes these days you're seeing decks where they have those wires that go across like this. Technically not the best.
They look sweet.
They look cool.
Yeah.
They look cool.
Yeah.
And they're easy to install. But they are climbable, so you can get little kids climbing on them. They could fit through them, you know. All kind of bad stuff that you just don't want to have. And we're talking about small children. Even a fall as low as 3 feet, 4 feet, right, could be catastrophic to a small child, you know. So and then also with the spacing that we generally never want to see a space or a gap that's larger than 4 inches, and that's something that came about in the early 2000s, 1990s, you know, somewhere in there. They started shrinking down that distance, right? So in an older home, when we come across the baluster system, they may have spaces that are 5, 6, 7 inches, you know, and that was okay back then. There was nothing wrong with that.
Sometimes they don't have one.
Sometimes they don't have one at all. Yeah, but today in our current building codes and things like that, they generally want 4 inches of space, and that's 4 inches
Sphere.
both up and down, but also at the bottom as well.
Yep.
So this space is what they determine for the small child's head that doesn't get stuck in there. And main thing with the small child getting stuck, the first thing they're going to do is flail around and try to get out, right? And then they're going to start yelling for mom and dad. But by that time, by them flailing, trying to get out, you know, they could really severely injure them, and neck injuries are a real thing. So we want to be extra careful when we have small children in the home. But guardrails, we always want to have them minimum of 36 inches. Generally speaking, we like to see 42 inches as your preferred height. Spacing never greater than 4 inches, and it shouldn't be climbable. You know, are the things that we're looking for as far as basic safety goes. Now, if you're purchasing a home and you're using conventional financing, nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to say anything. You know, hey Pete, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for tuning in tonight. When it comes to like FHA, VA, WIDA, some of these other unique loan products, they're making sure that the house is safe for the occupants, and so they're looking for these handrails, guardrails, that kind of stuff. Looking for GFCI, smoke detectors, those kinds of things. But guardrails is one of the things on the appraiser checklist. Right? And they'll say, oh, you're getting a VA inspection. Well, a VA inspection is just a VA appraiser coming through with a checklist. It's not actual. They don't have any actual building knowledge, and they're not bringing anything to the table with that. They're bringing their clipboard and a checklist besides their normal appraiser stuff that they use, you know. But definitely something you want to make sure you have working, stable, and you know, something that's going to support reasonable loads.
Yeah.
When we come to handrails and guardrails. So, folks, we're talking mainly where we have drop-offs greater than 20 inches or stairs greater than 2. You know, so if you have more than 2 stairs, you should have some sort of a handrail or something like that, all right? The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to help you save a buck today. Tammy, can you go grab the new LED bulbs out of the laundry room for me? So one of the things that we would suggest in saving a buck in your home today, and most people, I think, have already gotten on the train. They've already gotten on the train because they've been in the store. They realize that, hey, they're not even carrying regular light bulbs anymore. Okay. You can still buy some here and there, but very rarely you're going to find regular traditional light bulbs. But switching out all of the bulbs in your home to LEDs. great idea. Okay, now an LED light bulb. Okay, when we're talking about an LED light bulb, we're talking about a lot less energy being used. So these are some that I picked up at Home Depot, not Home Depot, at Costco. Not that I'm affiliated with Costco or anything like that. But this is a 60 watt equivalent. Uses actually, instead of using 60 watts of energy, now we're only using 8.8 watts. I mean, how much is that? That's like a 80% savings. You know, so that's basically saying you put $1 of electricity in, you're only you're going to get an extra 80 cents out of your dollar. You know, so it's something that is a really good idea. These are actually ones in this 6-pack here. They are adjustable, so you can adjust them to the different types of tones or colors that you want. So they have the whole spectrum up here that you could adjust it for. So you can be soft white, bright white, cool white, daylight, or cool daylight, which is actually pretty bright. But yeah, they just have this little slider on there, but not a bad thing, and not very expensive either. You know, in comparison to the old bulbs, they were comparable in price, right? Yeah. You could even go, and sometimes you go into like Ace and they have like a 4-pack for $6 or whatever, you know. But switching all them out in your home is going to start to save you money day one on electricity. So you could actually go down and you could turn all the lights on in your house and go down and you know, see how fast your meter's moving, take a little video with your phone or something like that. And then you could go to switch out all the bulbs and then go take a picture of what it looks like, and it'd be dramatically different, you know. So something to consider. Or, you know, what's your electric bill compared one day to another day, but you got to make sure you're using the same time of year, using the same usages. Yeah. So obviously, if you're looking at your electrical load in September, right, it's going to be a lot less than if you're going to be talking about like running your air conditioner in the middle of July, or in the middle of winter at our darkest time, running all of our lights all night, you know. So it's just a very different situation. So compare apples to apples, but LED bulbs, really a great way to save some money. All right, making your life more efficient and saving some cash in the meantime. All right, but that is switching them out to LED bulbs.
And they make them regular bulbs. They make them can light retrofits. I mean, pretty much anything. Flashlights now will have them now. And then Focus on Energy. I think I bought a 6-pack or a 12-pack.
That's actually a great thing.
For, was it $1?
Yeah, well, Focus on Energy, you can get free. You can get some for free.
Yeah.
So if you go to focusonenergy.com, you can actually, is it twice a year or once a year?
I know they have different programs going on all the time.
I think it's once a year. You can actually go on there and you can get these packages of energy saving devices, and you can get it once a year. And basically we'll ship all this stuff to your house. So you can get a package of 6 LED light bulbs. Along in that package, you can get a shower head thing,
little
you know.
Flow shower head.
Yep. You can get
LED nightlight,
LED
window
nightlight.
film.
Yep, or they even have some power strips, you know, and stuff like that that they'll give you for free. Yeah. You know, it's just that you can only do that once or
I think it's once a year for that.
Yeah, but go on focusonenergy.com. Lots of good stuff on there, but you'll also find out a whole bunch of stuff about rebates and things like that for being energy efficient. So if you were to get a
new furnace,
heat pump water heater, or a new furnace and things like that, they can tell you all about the rebates and how to make that rebate process easier between you and the contractor and stuff. So it's really a good program. And you can even find a contractor that works closely with the rebates and Focus on Energy as well. So focusonenergy.com. I actually ran into them at the State Fair this year, and they had this little quiz thing, and so I passed the quiz, and they shipped me a little power monitoring device. So you can plug a appliance. So you plug it into the wall, plug your appliance in, and it'll tell you how much energy it's using.
Oh,
which is kind of cool. Yeah. But focusonenergy.com, good people over there. Now, the next thing we have is our co-host questions. So one of the questions that Mike, a couple years ago, started dabbling in real estate and buying rental properties, right? Okay. Now, in the time that you've owned your rental properties, is there any one thing that you wish you would have done differently in the beginning that you're doing now?
I would have got in sooner. You know, the first purchase of a rental property was definitely the hardest. Yeah. I mean, it took us a long time to find a property, go through the process. At that time I was inspecting, so I was going through it with a fine-tooth comb and so forth. And the first one, actually making the jump to do it, was the hardest. That not so much anymore. Yeah. I mean, our second one we went to buy, it was actually a week later that we were like, okay, we got one under contract. Let's go and do another one. You know? So just starting sooner. I would say. Yeah. Don't wait. It's not as scary as it seems. Yeah. Well,
there's
as long as you're vetting and doing background checks and doing the, writing up your lease and responsibilities and so forth for the tenants and that,
Yeah. And there's a lot of resources out there too.
Oh, yeah.
Like Bigger Pockets and some other websites and things like that you can get a lot of resources about being a landlord or owning rental properties, to make that process a little bit easier for you, a little bit more understandable, But buying them is a great thing as far as your longevity goes, because you're not only, paying down your mortgage and getting money that way, but the investment is also going up in value at the same time. So you're kind of dipping into two pots, so it works out really good. Plus, if you do it the right way, there's certain tax incentives and write-offs and all other kinds of things that come along with it. Yeah. Yep. So great idea. Another question for you. We recently did some home inspector training, which we have to do. So as a home inspector, we have to do 40 hours of continuing education. They call them CEs. And we have to do that as a part of our licensure. We have to do that every 40 hours every 2 years. And so basically we go to these conferences, we do some online work, we do some other things, and we went out to Madison with the whole crew this weekend. And, it's your typical conference. Sit in a room at a table, and
8.5 hours.
8.5 hours, yeah. They fed us lunch, which lunch was. It was right. That was the first conference I've ever been at where they served hot dogs. I don't know how many conferences serve hot. I know you're like, it's just a hot dog. What's the big deal? But I'm like, dude, pay a couple $100 a person, and we get a hot dog. It was kind of, I don't know, whatever. Yeah. Not that I'm judging.
The rest was fine.
The rest was good. Yeah. The breakfast was normal. I mean, eggs and bacon and stuff, which is normal. But they also had some vendors there and stuff like that you can actually talk to vendors that are dealing in products and things that we would use as home inspectors and stuff, which is kind of cool. Nice to see those people, because we don't see those guys we never. If we didn't go to a conference, we would never see these people. The inspector tools guy. Mm-hmm. At most, they might get us to go to their website and look at something. Yeah. But that'd be about it, But it was nice to actually have the products in front of you, looking at them, talking to the guy, answering your questions. Yeah. And he gave away free Twizzlers.
What?
You didn't get the Twizzler?
No.
Dude, he had a whole bucket of Twizzlers. It was so good. Watermelon? Oh, it's yummy.
Missed that.
Yep. I went back to talk to him a couple of times. Not that I'm saying. What was one thing that you took away from the home inspector training this weekend that you found useful?
Well, it goes into the swear words.
Oh, it does?
It does.
What one?
It has to deal with what we refer to as bacterial growth.
Yes.
Or the 4-letter M word.
All right, what is it?
So the fact that black mold is pretty much everywhere, and that it's very unlikely that black mold actually hurts you. Because black mold is everywhere. It's outside. And if you're walking around outside, going to the grocery store, going in, for a walk, you're exposed to black mold. And everybody always asks, is that black mold at home inspections and stuff? I'm like, concerned. Well, it is black. I mean, but it just gets cleaned and treated. It doesn't matter what kind of mold it is.
Yeah, they refer to
bacterial growth. I say
still comes from moisture, right?
Yeah,
and it's they would call black mold an outdoor mold.
Yeah. It's actually the white mold.
See, now you're stealing my. I thought it was my whole thing. I'm with you. It was a good part. It was
great.
He made a great presentation. Yeah. He was probably the best speaker of the day.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah.
And there were 3 speakers that kind of all talked about similar things. Yep. Moisture in the home, addressing moisture in the home, mold in the home, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I thought he did a great job of kind of breaking it down.
Very surprised, actually. I mean, that he is a biologist. He's got his PhD in multiple different things.
He sniffs outlets.
And he sniffs outlets.
He had a potty mouth too, dude. He was swearing.
He was.
But he kind of, I think it's because he knew his audience.
Yeah.
More than anything.
But he also, he was good. And I mean, he wasn't using, words that the normal person can't understand. I mean, he really.
You would think a scientist is going to use terminology that we're just like going to be, but he didn't.
Yeah.
And
I mean, little here and there, but
he broke it
really
down
good.
Into a good. But when he would use one of those obnoxiously long science words, he'd break it down and tell us what it is. You know. But he also had some funny jokes that he'd interject once in a while and that kind of stuff. Some fell a little flat, but that's going to happen when you're speaking. But I thought he was by far the best one. The other, I guess, if I have to, go ahead.
Sorry, and just to maybe I didn't say it. The black mold. Most cases is not harmful to you, but it's the white mold. And if you have a wet area of a wall and stuff, you can actually see it cling to your furniture and stuff. And you should be actually more concerned about that mold because it's more
The white mold's going to what's caused your more allergic reactions.
So immunosuppressed or asthma or anything like that.
But we're still talking about a very small percentage of the population. So everybody's super worried about mold. But really, it's only like 3 to 5% of our population is dramatically in any way health-wise affected by mold. But third row for his title. What? When is okay? I don't know. You have a title? Oh, in the opening slide where she's got her names. I think he's talking about. I don't know.
Oh,
elaborate, Pete. Give us some elaboration.
The comment is that Matt has Matt Yake, helpful home inspector, and HSH property inspection, and Mike has just HSH property inspection. We could do a third row of property owner or renter. That's what
just
I think he's commenting.
Smart guy?
Yes.
Oh, up there. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. If you come up with another title, Mike.
No.
Or actually,
I didn't even notice.
Certified licensed general contractor. Maybe.
Yeah.
We can talk about that.
Yeah.
But so it was a good weekend though. I think we learned a lot. And the CEs are what we are really there for. Yeah. But that last presentation on the mold was probably the best one. And really the only thing that saved the day. The ones prior to that was kind of like
yeah.
It's not too exciting. But
no, it was good.
And then let's get into our topic. Let's get into our main topic today. So understanding a home inspection report. So home inspection reports are things that we do every day, right? Mm-hmm. And home inspection reports have gone through a lot of changes over the years, right? When I first got started, it has changed. It changed. Majority of it had changed by the time you got in 2017, 2016, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
When I started in 2010, 2011-ish, there was still guys out there using 3-part copy stuff. And with just check boxes and making some
When I started,
scribbles.
there were still people using
Was there still some?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that you can't survive in this industry.
Or a Word document that they created 25 years ago.
There's a guy still does that in Hartford here. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's something that has changed dramatically. Today, all the reports should be digital. There's no excuse for not having a digital report of some kind. But the reports have progressively gotten longer, bigger, just have more stuff in them, and some of the stuff is necessary, some of the stuff is fluff, and other parts of it are just kind of a differentiation between one inspector to another, but for your home inspection report, basically the home inspector is going to go through the house, they're going to document all the stuff, and they're going to document it in this report. All right, now some home inspectors will go through and they'll have their iPad and they're going to be taking notes the whole time and that kind of stuff, and then they're going to go home and edit up the report a little bit, and then they're going to send it out to you. We do it a little bit differently in that we go around, we focus on taking our pictures and focus on inspecting. And then we sit down and we kind of go through it all again. And then we go through it a third time at home. So we actually go through all the pictures, all the stuff, all the information that we're gathering 3 times to make sure that we're not going to miss anything, but the recording of that goes into this report. And so we're going to have pictures in there. We're going to have narrative explanations of things, documenting of conditions, what are kind of materials.
Illustrations.
Yep. All that kind of stuff is going to be in this report. And if you're not digital, I don't know how you do that anymore. Yep. You just would seem almost incompetent to present one of the old types of reports with 3-part paper and check boxes and stuff like that, even though there's some guys out there that think that was a better way of doing it. And I think that they think that because for the wrong reasons. I think they thought it was easier and it was faster. Sure. And
well, you also don't have the monthly expense or the daily expense, we pay per report, but we also send out a high quality report versus not paying for it, and I mean it's a very, very small cost, and it's the cost of doing business.
The place that we went and got trained, right, that ITA up at Kaplan up there, they actually tried to sell you a binder with all these 3-part copy forms and all this stuff in it, and I mean you still had to buy all that stuff. It was still an expense, but digital reporting softwares and stuff like that have come down in price dramatically, to the point where if we buy bulk inspection reports, it's going to cost me anywhere from $2 to $12 a report, depending on the software that we're using, But with the different softwares, they offer different capabilities, different things, and different features and stuff like that. Some of them are easier to use. Some of them are easier on the inspector. Some of them are easier on the homeowner that's buying it to understand it and make sense of it. I think ours is a good blend of the two. You don't want one that's one way or the other, the ones that are easy for the inspectors are the ones with all these check boxes. All they do is they go on their phone and they check, and then they're done. But when the report goes out to the client, it's got all these check boxes that don't mean anything, and it can be very confusing. When we're talking about our home inspection report, everything in the report is only about that house, and with lots of illustrations, lots of pictures and all that kind of stuff. So it's just and it's full color. It's just a different beast, and even that software that we use, they're looking at making improvements to and things like that all the time, So as far as the inspection report, there was also some rule changes that came down through the state of Wisconsin in 2021, 2022, called Act 17. And in Act 17, they basically changed some rules and regulations as far as how home inspections are going to be conducted, and as well as some of the definitions and things like that, but also the reporting that is required from the home inspector side of things. So
basically standardize and bring the reports kind of to some standard,
some level of standard,
versus everybody having a different report and stuff.
And everybody can still use a different software. They can still all use whatever they think is best going to provide the information to their client, I guess it would be to say. And everybody can have different opinions about that, right? So for us, we use a reporting software called Horizon, and it just works out really well for us. It's transmittable. All my guys can use it from their home laptops wherever we are in the world. It just works out really. You can use it from your phone. You can use it on your tablet. You can use it wherever you want, and it's always going to be the same, which is kind of nice. But it also has good record keeping and things like that. It has good interaction with our scheduling coordinator, so she can put things in there and do what she needs to do on her side of things. It just works out really good. But in Act 17, they came and said that, hey, all home inspectors have to use the same definition of the term defect in the state of Wisconsin. That was because before, when we would present something as a defect, there was a lot of arguing as a part of the rest of the transaction. One realtor would think it's a defect and agree with the home inspector. Another one would disagree that it's a defect. The seller would disagree that it's a defect. And then as far as the required reporting and disclosures, it was that, hey, anything that's listed as a defect to the home needs to be recorded in your disclosure. But then everybody had a different opinion of what a defect was. And it got very frustrating for a lot of people, in that it made it difficult to have discussions even about it, because there was so many different opinions. So what they came down with is they said, hey, only one person is going to be able to determine what a defect is, and that's the home inspector. The home inspector is the only one that can determine what a defect is, and all defects are determined by a licensed home inspector on the day of the inspection are required to be disclosed in your disclosures. Is what it has to be reported to any potential buyers, right? And so that was a big change, and that was something that the Realtors Association, I think, kind of promoted and wanted that, and that's cool with me. I'm like, having some sort of uniformity across it just makes sense, to eliminate the confusion and the arguing and things like that. Because in a real estate transaction, there's enough arguing already. We don't need any. We don't need to add anymore. But as far as the other change that happened was that in the report, the home inspector is required to put the state definition of the word of what a defect is in there. They also have to put in some other information as far as the state requirements and things like that, which we do. It's in there. But we also have to use the word defect. We have to use the word defect in the report when we're referring to something that is a defect.
Yep.
So for us, when we're writing the narrative, we basically put the word defect big and bold right in the beginning of that sentence to clearly identify what they are, and all the defects have to be listed in the summary section. There was some other summary section requirements and things like that in there, but that's the gist of it, and every state does a little bit differently. So if you're in another state, your regulations could be completely different, but that's just how they require us to do it in the state of Wisconsin. Now, Horizon and all these other softwares are used in all kinds of other states, and most of these softwares will have state accommodations, for each state as far as what's required in the report. You just have to look up your software. All right. And it's difficult sometimes to change softwares and things like that, but it can always be done, Now, as far as the home inspection report goes, there are different parts of the home inspection. So the first part is going to be the cover page, which is usually most home inspectors are going to put a picture of the house, information about the client, information about the property, that kind of stuff on your cover page. And it's basically just that very first sheet. The summary section is where we're going to list any of the defects. That's going to be the next section, and it has to be in the very front of the report now, right? In the state of Wisconsin, at least. And the summary section, you have to have all of your defects listed, any major concerns and things like that listed in there as well. Some guys, they're just going to, some home inspectors, I should say, are going to just write defect this, and they're just going to list them. That's not what we do. because I don't think that does a service to anybody. I'm going to bring them all into there, but I'm going to have pictures in there. I'm going to have explanations. I'm going to have all the other information that to understand the condition is going to be in the summary section. Even though that makes the summary section a little bit longer than some other people's, I don't think that just writing a line item accurately reflects the condition.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. And then
and also by having the pictures, you can see that, let's say the roof is a defect, right?
Yeah.
So then you have the description of the roof with your explanation and stuff, all the pictures, and then it clearly breaks to the next item versus line item by line item you have to go through. And you can look for defect and stuff, but the pictures are a good visual of that this section is done.
Yeah, it's funny when I have I had a real estate agent one time call me up and say that and be upset with me because I labeled the roof as a defect, and I'm like, did you look at the report? It's like right on page 3 of the summary section that you can see 4 pictures of these potato chips that are the roof. Those are your shingles. They're supposed to be flat. They're supposed to have granular on them. There's none. Well, that's not a defect. That roof's not leaking, so it can't be a defect. No, the condition of the roof it's gone.
It's not leaking today.
Yeah, it's not leaking today.
But that doesn't mean tomorrow.
It's going to leak tomorrow. It is still a defect because it is a structural issue as far as the home goes. But it's something that
if you were buying this house, would that be a defect?
That's the argument, yeah, right. But I got told that I will never be inspecting homes that are listed with her office ever again. Yeah, I don't think she's a realtor anymore. So, and I think she was done after about a year after that. So things happen, right? Yeah. So, and after the summary section, we're going to get into the body. And the body of the report is going to have a bunch of information, and it's going to have our recommendations. In some cases, some of the things that we're talking about or putting in the report are things that may not be wrong, but if we know something that can make...
recommending to improve it.
Yeah, we recommend it. If we know something that can make the house better, make it more comfortable, make it easier to maintain, last longer, and just... be better. We're going to put those kind of recommendations in there for you, like extending your downspouts 4 to 6 feet away. Is it a requirement to have them 4 to 6 feet away? No. But is it a very good idea? Heck yeah, it is, So those kinds of suggestions, recommendations are going to be in the body of the report. We're also going to have the defects listed again in the body of the report because the body of the report, in most cases, the inspection report is going to go through the different systems that are in a home. So when we talk about a home, we talk about the different systems that are within it. So like a plumbing system, electrical system, heating system, and it's going to be broken up in those different sections. And so those defects that, although they were in the summary section, will also be listed in the appropriate section that would go along with what we're talking about there. So, and then the last thing is going to be the property details. The property details are going to be intermingled usually in the beginning of each section. So it's going to describe what kind of furnace it is, what size is it, how old is it. It will give you the model numbers and serial numbers and stuff, filter size. In our reports, we put in maintenance suggestions, like get a tune-up every 2 years, change your furnace filter every 3 or 6 months, whichever size your filter is, that kind of stuff. We're going to put all that stuff in there so that our clients can, know what the house is and what they're looking at purchasing, and can make some educated decisions about all that. And all that can be found in the body of the inspection report. So if you're opening up the inspection report and all you're reading is the summary section, you're selling yourself short. You're missing a lot of information there that I think is important. But while I'm thinking about it, Tammy, could you find me some blue painter's tape? But that's going to be in the body of the report is our recommendations, defects, property details, that kind of stuff. The last part is, go ahead.
We also have hyperlinks in our report too that they can click on for additional information.
The New Horizons coming out, they're going to have video links and things like that in there as well. You can actually play videos in the inspection report, which is kind of cool. Yeah. And then the last one is the appendices at the very end of the report. Now, the appendices in our report is it's thorough. There's a lot of stuff in there. So in our appendices, there's different breakouts for all the different repair areas and suggestions, recommendations, home maintenance, all that kind of stuff is all in there. We also are going to put any documents we have that are associated with the report. So if it was a radon test, if it was a structural test, if it was anything else that we have documentation of anything, we're going to put that in there for you as well. But that's all going to be in the appendices at the very bottom. And lots of times, some home inspectors they'll write up the report, and then they'll put C image 25A, and that'll be in the appendix. Yeah, you got to scroll all the way down or flip through all the pages to get to it, and that kind of doesn't make it very easy to work with, So it's something
that might be easy for them.
Well, that's the whole thing
to write the report, but
that'll work perfect. Thank you, honey. That'll work great as far as they're concerned to shorten their time doing their job, right? But they're shortening their time to do their job for their benefit, not for the client.
Yeah.
You know, that makes it more difficult for any person that's going to read through that report. And if you're a home inspector out there, you're putting pictures at the back of your report and referring to them, shame on you. You're doing a disservice to your client and being lazy, in my opinion. You can feel free to disagree if you wish. I'd love to see it in the comments down below. Make sure you put your home inspection company in there too. But yeah, lots of good stuff in the home inspection report. So don't short yourself by just reading the summary section or reading the bullet points. All right. The next thing is as far as the defect, what makes it a defect in the state of Wisconsin, it has to meet the definition, and it has to meet the definition in the home inspector's opinion. Okay. Yep. And then as far as those defects go, everybody can have their different criteria as to what they're looking at and how it fits into that definition, you know? So for some guys, like a faceplate cover missing is a defect, and they'll rationalize it being like, hey, there's exposed electrical there. A little kid could stick their tongue on it. Yeah, they could, you know? Is that a reasonable defect? In my opinion, probably not, but they're rationalizing it. And sometimes they're doing that out of legal concerns that they don't want to be sued or whatever else, you know? And I get that, but it also causes undue concern, you know, in some cases as well over what's a faceplate cover run these days? $1.50?
15 cents.
15 cents. I don't know where you're buying a faceplate cover. That's cheap.
Yeah, I don't know. Last time I bought a 10-pack. I mean, you always get them cheaper.
Yeah. You get a contractor.
I don't remember.
I mean,
30 cents.
They're not very expensive. They're
60
cheap.
cents.
Yeah.
78 cents to be exact.
Okay, there you go.
She looked it up. Look at that producer. She's on top of it. Woo!
On it.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not very expensive. It's unlikely that people are going to stick their fingers or tongues in there and stuff like that. Is it possible? Sure, it's possible. You know, it all depends on your personal opinions about it all. How far you want to go with that what if situation type of thing. You know.
Yeah.
But they kind of leave that up to the home inspector to be responsible with that. If you're irresponsible with that, the realtors aren't going to appreciate that. The homeowners aren't going to appreciate that. The seller's probably going to get upset with you, and you cause all kinds of problems. But if you're reasonable, you're going to be. It's going to be easy for you to defend your position, you know, and it won't be hard for other people to understand why you believe what you believe as long as you're reasonable about it. So, And then as far as the report, you can get it, you can print it off, you can put it in a binder if you want. That's the way people used to do it. The home inspectors used to send you a binder with it in it, you know. Yeah. There's still some guys out there out here doing that, you know, but
it's expensive. That's expensive, more expensive than a digital report software.
A lot more, yeah. But and it may provide a digital version, but they also are shipping and
printing and
shipping,
binding.
And it's like, holy cow, what does that do to the cost of your inspection, you know? So and it's all overhead, it's all cost, and in a business, overhead always gets passed along to the client, right? So how much cheaper could you make your inspection if you got rid of that element of your overhead, you know? So, but most of the time, most inspectors today, including us, are going to provide an online version, which is going to be a link. It's a link, you can click on it and it'll work from anywhere in the world. You know, you can open it up on your phone, you can scroll, you can zoom in, you can zoom out, you know. But also usually you'll get a PDF as well. And the PDF you can save to your computer flash drive, put it in your fire safe if you want to, you know. But you know, ours, we also have a QR code on there that you can just scan it with your cell phone. It'll download the report right to your phone and save it in your iBooks account. So so kind of cool. Using pictures in the reports, it's something that every day it should be done every home inspection these days. There are still a lot of companies out there that are maybe putting 15 to 20 pictures in, maybe 30, you know. Our reports are much different. Our reports are going to have 150 to 200 digital pictures in there. And for that reason, I explained to everybody on site, hey, all of my inspection reports are long. It has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of the home. It has everything to do with the quality of your inspector and how many pictures they take. A, I'm a really good inspector, and B, I take a ton of pictures. You know, I'm going to have 150 to 200 digital pictures in there where most home inspectors might only have 25 to 30, you know? So I'm just a different animal, you know? I think the 150 to 200 digital pictures is a much better explanation of the situation that you have going on at the house, even if it just comes down to describing the furnace, you know? Just to kind of break out what a furnace might look like in the report.
It's just easier for those of us that don't probably understand the level that you guys do, being able to see a picture to explain something.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the whole picture says 1,000 words, right?
Yeah.
But as far as just the furnace alone, I have a picture of the overall furnace. I have a picture of where the filter goes in. I have the picture of the size of the filter, so that you're at Home Depot, you can pull that up on your phone. I pull out the filter, you can see its condition and stuff like that. You can also see how it's inserted. You know,
the serial tag.
Yeah, the serial number, the thermostat picture, picture
Temperature.
inside. The temperature of the furnace, temperature of the air conditioner at the same time, and then pictures of the burners not operating, picture of the burners operating, shining a light into the heat exchanger to see if there's any cracks, and that's just with the furnace.
Yeah.
I mean, we do that for water heater, electrical panel, you know, everything.
Yeah.
You know, so we're taking a ton of pictures to document everything at the house for you, so that you can use that information to make some educated decisions. And going through that inspection report while you're on site with us, we answer a lot of questions. We go through a ton of information. It's almost too much for people sometimes, you know? Yeah. And so just being on site, having that first exposure to the information is good, but really going home and digesting that all is going to help you just really soak it in and be able to make some of those decisions. I mean, when you're spending $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 on a house, it's important that you make a good decision, you know, and having some confidence in that decision, you know, so it's important. But on a home inspection, everything that we talk about on site is always going to be in the report. You know, it's just how we do it. Pardon me. Yeah, and hyperlinks, like you said, should be in every report these days. So if we have something in the report that could use further understanding, or if you want to learn more about it, you know, like the heat exchanger on a furnace. Most people have no clue what a heat exchanger is, or the fact that they have a secondary heat exchanger, you know, so they can click on the link and learn a little bit more about heat exchangers, you know, or if they go to the appendices, they can click on the furnaces and they can learn all about the different types of furnaces and stuff. So kind of cool. But that is an inspection report summed up. Some realtors will print off the report for you if you want to. They'll use the printer at their office and things like that. But your home inspector these days generally isn't going to be printing it out. It's something that when you're looking at one of our reports, our average report's going to be 60, 70 pages long, maybe 80 pages, you know, just because of the number of pictures that we take. And to print off 80 pages of color printing, I mean, you chew through a toner cartridge in no time, you know. So keeping it digital is usually better anyways, because you'll be able to zoom in on the pictures, and we take such high quality pictures that you'll be able to look inside the electrical panel, zoom in and read the numbers on the wires and stuff. It's pretty cool, you know. But so today we have a little question giveaway. So if you're tuning in, if you have tuned in before, we give away a little prize every week that we have the show. And today we're giving away a $15 Dairy Queen gift card. It is the warmer temperatures are coming out, so I think we might need to go get some ice cream one of these days, and you might need to go get some ice cream too. So this could come in handy for you. It is a $15 Dairy Queen gift card, and the person who wins this is going to be the person that answers this question closest to what I have written on the sheet right now, and the first person to either enter it into the live show or enter it in afterwards in the comments, it will get this prize mailed to them. But the only rules with that is that if you've won a prize in the last 30 days, you cannot win tonight. I think that's it. Yeah. Otherwise, put your answer in. So the question that we have today, how many videos has the Helpful Home Inspector produced to help better maintain and take care of your home as of today, 3/12/24, not including the live show right now? It's pretty easy to find out, because if you're watching us on YouTube, it's right down there, you know. Got a little something in my throat. So if you know the answer, put it out there. How many videos has the Helpful Home Inspector produced to help you better maintain and take care of your home as of 3/12/24, not including the live show right now? All right. But lots of good videos out there. You know, we actually hit 500 subscribers last week. Oh, I know. It's been a year. Yeah. It took us a year to get there, but 500 subscribers is pretty cool. You know, it doesn't really get us anything, but you know, 500 subscribers. That's cool, you know. Yeah. We're growing slowly, and I think we're up to 522, 523, something like that. But just a good little resource for everybody. But we also point out to our clients that, hey, there's a lot of good videos out there to help you better maintain, take care of your home, you know. And we do stuff all the time to help you understand home ownership and make it a little bit more smooth for you. So, and then we're also starting to come out with these review videos and things like that to help you understand what products you should be buying for your home and stuff, and sometimes what products not to buy. So and speaking of that, I came across one. I was at Menards. I don't go there that frequently, but
I think your credit card statement says otherwise.
Get me in trouble, Michael. So these guys, saw them at Menards. They're these little alarms, and so you can put the alarm on there. It's got a little battery in it. You put it on your window door or whatever. If you have a little kid that you want to know if they're getting up in the middle of the night or anything like that, you can put this right on the door jamb, and it'll go beep, 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 let you know when they open the door or whatever. Or if somebody opens the refrigerator, or somebody opens a cupboard, or the dog gets into the garbage, you can set this up to alert you to all that kind of stuff. Also, if you're just wants a little bit of home security, $3.
Wow.
$3. I'm like, you can't go wrong, And I think I got 11% off back on it too. So you can put that on anything on the shed outside. You can put it on anything without having to play ADT or Simply
Where
Safe.
are you going to
at all.
spend that 3.5 cents?
Well, I don't. There was other things on the receipt that. I'm just kidding, honey. I didn't. Yeah, Michael.
You're getting yourself
You
in
got
trouble.
me in trouble
You
last
I talked about the 3 cents.
You
You indulged
are the one.
on the,
Yes, you just
Peter-
the rest.
Keep digging your hole, honey.
Peter
Keep digging
got it
your
right.
hole.
300. I'm going with 3,490. Just kidding. 340. Pete, you're going to Dairy Queen, buddy. Congratulations. We have 340 videos out there.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, but we're coming up with new stuff all the time. Tammy's working real hard on the editing. We have a backlog of videos to edit and process and get out to people just because she has a full-time job. It's going great. We're loving it. It's a good time, and hopefully we're providing everybody content. Love to see you guys out there as subscribers. By the way, if you're not a subscriber already, hit the subscribe button down there. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free. It will never cost you a dime. If you want to know when we're coming out with new videos or when we're going live, hit the bell notification. It'll let you know when we're coming out with new stuff. It'll make a little ding on your phone or on your computer, or just a little flashy thing letting you know that we got some stuff coming out. And then if you like what we're doing, give me a thumbs up. Let us know we got some good stuff out there for you. All right. And then the next thing we're going to talk about is we have a mystery box battle. So Tammy, that sounds like there's something in there. Tammy put this together. So
I did. So neither one of you knows what's in there. Just be careful on shaking it.
That's
so
Ben Michael's.
There is actual things in. I mean, just don't shake it because
That's Ben Michael's complaint is that I get to know all of them because I pick them and set them up or whatever, And this is because Tammy's busy doing other stuff.
I'll just peek.
Which one?
real quick.
No. That's cheating. Which one are you taking? Which one are you taking?
I don't know. I'll let you pick.
I'll go with this one. So
sure?
the mystery box battle. Basically, there's an item in here that are going to be they're competing items
mine
in the
just
same
tipped over.
in the same space, and we're going to try to convince the audience that ours is better than the other person's. We have 1 minute to convince the Mr. and Mrs. Jane and Joe public out there that ours is better. You can spend that minute bashing the other person's product, or you can spend that minute promoting your product, whichever it is you chose.
Oh.
I'm kind of glad it ended up the way it did.
Does that fit your dome?
It does. It does. Oh,
It's
that's
really bright.
That's bright stuff. All right. So headlamps are almost essential sometimes. And when it comes to going
You're
up
going
in
first.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Carry on.
Carry on. Thank you.
Yeah.
So sometimes
just
when you're up
wanted
in an attic, when you're scrumming through a crawl space or anything like that, you need your hands. You got to be holding on to things. You got to be bracing yourself. You got to be crawling on all fours, whatever it may be. And you need that hands-free flashlight so you can see in the space because I haven't been in too many crawl spaces with lights in them. Attics, usually the light bulb's burnt out in them. And you want to have some visibility in the attic space to be able to see what we're doing, right? So having this in a hands-free method is much easier. Granted, they do have some very high-quality flashlights, like the one you have in your hand right there. But then you have to be holding something. You only get one hand then. And if you're crawling through trusses and stuff, the last thing you want to do is only having one hand. You always got to have as many points of contact as possible. So I think it comes down to safety.
Say that again.
And it
in a
comes
crawl
down to
space, you want as many points as possible.
Yeah. And
So do you crawl on all fours?
No. Like when you're crawling and doing stuff up in like an attic, you want to have as many points of contact as possible. Plus it's got a cool factor to it.
Does it?
Honey, you
Does
need
more need to be said?
turn the lights off though. You keep shining Mike in the face.
Is that better?
No.
No. Absolutely not.
All right. I surrender. Go ahead, Michael. Let's explain your flashlight.
I almost never use a headlamp.
Never?
Almost never. Even
Really?
when I'm in the woods.
Well, I know you have one for in the woods.
I do have one.
I've seen it on your head.
I do have one, and 9 times out of 10, I'm using a regular flashlight.
Yeah.
I like flashlights a lot better. I do get the point of wearing a headlamp, especially if like you're working on something and you need the light there and you need both your hands and stuff. Very convenient.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen I don't know how many lumens that is.
It's a lot.
That's his super
This
duper
is
powered one.
probably 2,000 lumens.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I just picked up. I got a flashlight that's 2,000 lumens
Cool
and
guy gave you
telescoping. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for my inspections, I only use this.
Yeah.
So,
The time I most frequently use this on inspections is up in a attic.
okay.
If I have to get up into the attic to go out and look for something, something's out of ways,
Yeah.
where I have to actually get into the attic, Other times, if I'm in a basement and I'm looking at an electrical panel or something, and the lights aren't working well,
Sure.
I'll sometimes use that, but most of the time I just use my flashlight.
Yeah.
If I'm taking off an electrical panel or anything like that, then I put those flashlights, I just take it and I'll point it up at the ceiling and I'll put it off in the room someplace and it'll
Illuminates the
it'll
whole panel.
illuminate the whole panel in the room and stuff, so you can kind of see what you're looking at. But
Yeah, I personally like flashlights better because it's not on my head. It doesn't squeeze my head or my hair or anything like that.
I don't want to mess up your hair. That's
Well,
what you're concerned about?
Not really, but I don't like if I have to adjust my hat.
Mine doesn't mess up my hair either. Do you see I just had this on there? Hair looks great.
Yeah. Yeah. If I have to,
Don't
if I
laugh
put it on
over
my
there,
hat, I
peanut
forget
gallery.
it's up there, and then I flip my hat off, and the thing's laying on the ground broken.
Wow. You got to get a more durable one.
You guys have really
know.
strong flashlights too.
Yeah.
We do, yeah.
I use my flashlight for everything.
Yeah, those Milwaukee flashlights.
Yeah.
Dude, when we found
USB
those,
recharge.
Yeah.
water.
Did you like that new one with the end button push? Yeah. So when they came out with these new ones are a lot brighter than the old ones were.
Have you
And
dropped this a couple times?
I've dropped it a number of times. Dude, it's been well used. That thing's
Yeah.
been well. That's still the same that's the first one. That thing's got probably 3 or 4 years on it now. Look at the belt clips all worn on it and everything. Yeah. Even though I don't use
I got
belt
3 of
clip.
them.
Yeah, I only have one.
Well, you
Well,
had
I
your
have
old one.
more. I
You had
have-
the push button one on the end.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. But I don't use it. That's my backup. That's kept in the
Oh, mine's junk.
other regions of my truck.
Oh.
Yeah, but these Walk-ins are so bright, and they work really well. You can
cheap.
swap out the batteries. I mean, for 60,
69
$70
bucks.
Yeah,
They're rechargeable, 1,000 lumens.
The
Or actually
new one I got
1,100
you.
lumens.
The new one I got you is 2,000 lumens.
Yeah.
yeah.
About, I don't know,
It's a little bit-
25, maybe 50. Nah, it's probably 25% larger in diameter.
A little bit, not much.
And then it's probably a
little bit longer.
half or 3/4 inch longer,
Yeah.
right?
But it charges
But-
faster now because it has a USB-C charging instead of the old USB. So
Yeah.
there's a place for both. I wouldn't want to not have one in my bag. As far as the headlamp goes, I don't use it nearly as often as my flashlight.
Mine grew legs out of my bag.
What?
Actually, no, it is.
Hey.
It's all the way in the bottom. I don't even know if it works.
I paid good money for that, man.
Do you want it back?
No,
Okay.
because I
I'll
don't.
trade you. Here, I'll
but-
give you mine. I'll take this one.
No. That one, I don't know. She got this one out of my truck. It was, I think, this was in my truck.
No, it was charging on your workbench outside.
Oh, yeah. So I took it out of my truck to charge it. But yeah, this is a really nice one. It is one I got on the internet though. But
And what's the price of that?
$40.
Tammy probably doesn't want to know.
40 or $50. It's a Chinese thing. It's not like super high quality, but it does the job, and it's got a lot of lumens in it, But it was like one of those when they had those Amazon holiday special Amazon Prime days or whatever, it was like Prime Day special type. But yeah.
Nice.
Because not that I look at flashlights on a regular basis on Amazon or anything like that, but I don't buy them on a regular at least. All right, so that is our battle box of the day. Let us know in the comments who you think won. Would you rather have a headlamp or a flashlight? Headlamp or a flashlight? I like both. Yeah. All right. So next thing we're going to get into is the guest 5. So a lot of people have been doing these like top 5 countries that have watches or whatever the thing is, it's been these the 2 guys that I watch a lot are the 2 guys that are doing like the top 5 highest rent states, and that kind of stuff. So I have a top 5 that's around home inspections.
Okay.
You ready for this? So I'm going to tell you the topic. You're going to try to come up with the top 5 just by guessing. They did rank them in order of frequency, I guess, but you just guess what 5 they are, and I'll tell you what rank they ended up in. But yeah, so the list that we got here came off of an article on HGTV on their website. It is the 5 most common home inspection defects. 5 most common home inspection defects. There are 5. Can you guess? What's your first one?
Smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. Really?
No.
What?
I know. Well, I think this is like has an element
That's not on there at all?
No, it has an element of severity and cost in here, I think, is what they're going with. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So I think there's an element of severity and cost associated with these, but they are very common defects.
Okay.
If somebody thought of a big problem, that somebody's going to negotiate.
Yeah. So rough. I would say rough.
Roof is actually a number 2.
Foundation.
Foundation is not on here.
What?
Oh, I know. But the foundation defect as a defect isn't very frequent.
Okay.
It was why I think it's not on here.
So do they have like electrical issues?
Electrical issues, number 1, baby.
Okay.
Yeah. Electrical issues is something that we come across a lot.
Yeah.
And whenever you hire an electrician, they can make a bunch of money. It's probably like every 3rd inspection, there's an electrical defect of some kind, if not more frequently than that, and they can be kind of costly depending on what it is. Like the one I had yesterday, it was the service needed to be upgraded. They only had 60 amp service, so they have to upgrade that. But so those are 2. You got number one, number 2. Electrical is number 1, roof is number 2. What do you think? We got 3, 4, and 5 left. God bless you.
Excuse me, I'm allergic to this.
Bless you.
Yeah, this is a bad topic, I guess.
Let's go with I'll do Dex.
Nope, Dex isn't on there.
Wow.
No. Again, frequency.
Yeah.
I mean, almost every deck has problems of some kind.
So
but
foundation wasn't on there. Electrical is on there.
Roof is on there.
Roof is on there.
Smoke
3 more.
Were not on. There's 3 more. These are pretty significant.
Plumbing issues.
Yep, plumbing problems is number 4.
And foundation's not.
Plumbing is much more. Like I said, there's a frequency element of this.
Almost every foundation I come into has some sort of issue, whether it's water intrusion, cracking.
That's listed as a defect in your report?
No.
That's the thing.
But a lot of the plumbing issues that I cite in my report aren't a defect either.
It depends on what you're talking about, but
correct.
Yeah.
I have a problem with this list.
There's 2 more.
HVAC.
HVAC, the peanut gallery is helping them out. Yeah. You cannot help the contestants, lady.
Why not? You always have the answers.
This is my list, man.
There's one more.
As a tradesman electrician, I use both flashlights and headlamps. Yeah, I mean, when you're an electrician and the power's out, you gotta have
wiring in a panel.
Yeah, I mean, granted, if I were an electrician, I'd have like one of those kind of stand up, room lights, type of thing. But that's not convenient when you're crawling around through a space running wires and stuff. So so that's a great add-on. Yeah. As a tradesman, I think a headlamp becomes
even
much
working
more
on a car too.
Yeah,
having a headlamp on, look at because
you got to have both hands. You got to have both hands.
Trying to fish a bolt, get the nut on the other side.
Yep. Yeah, when I did cabling, we were down in these little nether regions of a building. And there was no lights, so you got to crawl through. You got to do with this, and you really needed your hands. So having a flashlight at that point wouldn't help. But a headlamp, it works great. And the headlamps now, they even have like hard hat headlamps and all this kind of stuff that you can strap on there, which is kind of cool. Yeah. All right, so we got electrical, roof, furnace, and plumbing. Can you get to the last one? I want to put this one on the list.
Oh. Well, we covered electrical. We covered plumbing.
Water leaking?
No, I thought foundation would have been a better one than this, but
is it?
I get the frequency. No, that would be a good one too. Siding. I mean, whenever you have wood siding, there's always rot and all kinds of stuff. Or stucco, or eaves, or hardy board. All that kind of stuff. No, this is the one we come across.
Concrete?
No, we come across it pretty frequently though. Yeah, and it's not. not insanely expensive to fix, but it is something that is a defect and it comes up frequently.
Plastic dryer vent.
No, that's cheap.
Yeah, I know.
It is a thing though. Nope. Windows would be a good one too, though.
Yeah,
I think Windows would be a better one than this. This is obviously not my list. This is from HGTV. Not that HGTV knows everything, but
Go ahead, give it to me.
Ventilation and insulation.
Oh,
I mean,
well.
it's insulation is lacking in a lot of the homes in southeastern Wisconsin, just because the homes were all built like 1940 to 1960.
Yeah.
But ventilation, yeah. I mean, we come across moldy attics and stuff quite frequently and stuff like that. But I think there's a lot more window issues that end up in defects with all the broken thermal panes, all the rot, all that kind of stuff. Or siding, like wood siding and things like that, and hardy board siding with all the cracking and damage and stuff. I think there would have been much better options for this. But obviously, this is not my list. This is HGTV's top 5 most common home inspection defects. So, yeah. But thank you, HGTV, for your contribution to our show tonight. Appreciate you. There we go. The next thing we have, and that we've been touting this for the last couple of weeks, is the 5 home inspector cuss words.
There's a lot more than 5 up there.
I put a whole list of ones. Now I did reach out to some of our local real estate friends and got their contributions to this list. But Mike and we're going to kind of tag team this, and we're going to go through this list and pick out the ones that we think are the 5 most dirty words for a home inspector to use during a home inspection. And these are words that I like. Home inspectors, generally, we wouldn't consider them cuss words, but real estate agents that are concerned about their deal staying together, or sellers, would consider these cuss words because they don't like to hear them come out of a home inspector's mouth, because they can kind of it makes things alarming, you know. It can be kind of overly dramatic, you know, when you use these words. But as long as you're doing a good job of explaining what it is, sometimes these words are unavoidable, you know. Yeah. Like if you're talking about bacterial growth evidence in the attic, I'll take the first one, mold. You know, mold, everybody thinks of it as a dirty word, right? They think that, mold, kids can die from mold. And if you're in one of that 3%, you know, maybe, you know. Yeah. But most cases, I mean, when we truly understand what mold is and the fact that it's everywhere, and that it's only going to affect us in certain situations, under certain conditions, and with certain types, and it's a really small part of our population that can be dramatically affected by it. Mold's really not that big of a deal. And in some cases, like Tammy and I would have made the mold video, in some cases it's used for good stuff, like making wines and cheeses and other types of things. You know? Medications, penicillin, all that kind of stuff. So mold, while a dirty word that realtors don't like to hear come out of our mouth, it is sometimes a necessity in that we have to use it to refer to things. Sometimes some realtors are they're accusational that we shouldn't be using that word because we aren't scientists and we didn't do any scientific exploration of it, you know. Yeah. But we also are experienced and intelligent individuals that can identify when there's a high likelihood that something's going to contain mold spores of some kind. Yeah.
But some microbial substance up in your attic for our purposes, white and black.
Yeah, for our purposes, we usually refer to as evidence of bacterial growth, fungal growth, that kind of thing. And like Mike said in earlier, the black mold is usually going to be outdoor mold. The white mold is going to be indoor mold. Indoor mold is, the white mold is usually on your furnitures and things like that. But that is usually much more harmful to humans than black mold is. But mold still,
and the bacteria. Yeah, that's what he was talking about this weekend.
Still a dirty word, I would say, and it probably the most common dirty word.
Oh yeah,
yeah. All right, Mike, what's yours?
I'll go with lead.
Lead. Yeah, as in like lead paint, lead laterals, that kind of stuff. It's kind of comes with an expense, and if your house was built prior to 1970, having lead paint, it's just par for the course. But also in every real estate transaction, there's a lead paint disclosure and things like that. So it comes up frequently. So people have heard about it before. And with the lead water laterals, it is a thing. It's a lot of things communities are dealing with. There's recent money pumped into the state of Wisconsin, by the way, for repairing some of these laterals. They actually, on the radio the other day, they had the mayor of Wausau in talking about replacing lead water laterals in the Wausau area. So one of the words that see, this is hard. So I'm gonna choose a word that to me makes things more alarming. Catastrophic. Yeah. If I'm using the word catastrophic during a home inspection, I'm trying to scare somebody.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's what I'm there to do.
Do you seriously use that word?
No.
No.
Not once.
But it is something that home inspectors use on a regular basis.
Well, we've heard from other realtors there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it is something that is in our home inspection software. Actually, there are elements in the descriptions of things that we can click on and things that does have the word catastrophic in there. And they when they refer to catastrophic, they're talking about catastrophic failure of a furnace system or a structural system and things like that. And I would caution people from using that word. I think it's a overly alarming adjective to be used to talk about an element of the home. Now, is it possible that a water heater is showing signs of imminent failure? Sure. Catastrophic failure? Catastrophic is like things are going to blow up and go through your roof and there's going to be like some major carnage going on.
Well, I thought that furnace this week and a half ago was going to
The
do
one
that.
that was making all the
Holy
noise.
Holy cow.
That was something. Mike's got a video. We'll share sometime.
Oh, man.
All right, so mine was catastrophic. We have mold, lead, then catastrophic. What should be number 4, Michael?
Why don't we talk about asbestos?
Asbestos is one that I think has gotten a bad rap because of all the commercials on TV.
Oh, yeah.
But it is still a dirty word that realtors don't like to hear us say. Yeah. And it's because people overly freak out about it.
Yeah.
Asbestos, folks, you can have some right here.
Still around today.
Yeah, I have some right here. So this is asbestos pipe wrapping off of a furnace. It's just paper, but it's got the asbestos fibers. You can clearly see and stuff. But asbestos is a dirty word because it can lead to lung cancer in certain situations. But these situations are usually when they're talking about the commercials on TV, they're talking about the guys that worked.
Mining it.
Yeah, they were mining the stuff. They were working in the Navy ships, putting asbestos on walls and grinding it and sanding it and breathing it all in for day in and day out. And those are the guys that they're targeting these commercials at for mesothelioma. Okay, they're not targeting after your or average homeowner who has some fun tile in the basement that is 9x9. It can probably likely contains asbestos. That's not
that furnace wrap
or the furnace wrap that's on there. Yeah, and for all intents and purposes, you guys, asbestos is a great material. I mean. Probably
fire retardant,
durable, holds up great over time. You know, it resists exterior exposure and things like that, and it's a great material. And the honest answer is they still use it today. They still use it in a lot of areas of our environments today, but it's used and much more regulated than it used to be. Okay,
it holds a lot better than duct tape does. Actually,
it does. Asbestos has been, a material that if it didn't have that side effect of having causing lung cancer when we breathe the fibers into our lungs, it would still be heavily used today in all kinds of applications because it's so good, But asbestos is really only harmful if we breathe the dust into our lungs, and it can get trapped.
Friable.
Yep, it's friable, and the fibers can go into our lungs and metastasize into lung cancer. Yeah. However, I could take some of that asbestos paper out, I could eat it and chew it and swallow it, and it's not going to hurt me at all.
As long as you don't breathe it in.
As long as you don't breathe in the dust.
Don't breathe.
So but it is still, I think, a dirty, definitely one of the top 5 dirty words that home inspectors could say to alarm a client and also get a realtor worked up as well. But it is something that I think if you're going to use it on site, it has to come along with further explanation. You can't just use the word that's asbestos because people are going to freak out. Yeah. You've got to give the disclaimers in there that, hey, you have some vermiculite insulation in your attic. Unless you're going crawling around your attic, you don't need to worry about it. If you want to remove it, wear a respirator and some goggles. It's something that isn't a huge deal. But if you're going to pay a professional to come and remove it, it's expensive.
Very expensive.
Yeah, they have special disposals, licenses, and all kinds of stuff that goes along with it. The OSHA has all kinds of regulations around the workers, which is where all the stuff came from. As far as the regulation of it all. But definitely one of those dirty words. What do you think the last one should be? Let's team up on this one. There's a list there. I mean, structural. I'll read off the list. Maybe you guys can help us in the comments. So we need a 5th dirty word.
Hazardous, maybe.
Hazardous, death, cancer, rot, further evaluation. I don't know that that's that dirty.
I don't think so.
Replace, non-professional, structural, knob and tube, whole houses.
My favorite is I can see light through the foundation wall.
It's not really a word though, but
that was a family member's house where he could see the wall move and daylight would come in depending on the season.
Not a good foundation situation. Yeah.
I did not inspect that house.
But what do you guys think? What should be the next one? I'm kind of going with like cancer death type is where I'm at.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, it could go along with, we were talking earlier about the radon. You know,
Yeah.
when
Sure.
you talk about radon levels and stuff.
Yeah, and you got to make them
Yeah.
aware that, hey, this is a problem because it could lead to lung cancer. You know, but it's still a word that as soon as you say the C word, people get all worked.
Oh yeah.
Cancer people, not the C word, but they could get all worked up. You were okay. Never mind.
I was thinking cancer and death.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Okay. Sure.
But
yeah.
anyways.
So, but the when we're talking about cancer on site, people get worked up. You know. But death, I don't think I can ever imagine a situation where I would talk about death at a home inspection.
No.
I mean, I could see some home inspector go and say, "Hey, it's something that you could fall off there and die." You know,
Yeah.
I mean, that's an alarmist type of thing. Knob and tube wiring does scare. I think it does. I mean, and it sounds like Joke the Mad has
Even aluminum wiring, cloth aluminum wiring. I've had a lot of people that were just not. They were scared of the.
the cloth
of
aluminum's not even that bad though. But when it comes to knob and tube, people know
Oh, yeah.
knob and they've heard
Hey.
knob and tube. You know,
We got some knob and tubes over there.
I do. Yeah, there's some knob and tube right here. So these are some knobs and tubes and all kinds of little.
Well, the
ceramic
scary
parts.
part is in that one video where they had knob and tube wiring, and it was live.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
we
it's
see it all the
It's
time.
live all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in most cases, when a house had knob and tube, there's still knob and tube in the walls. They don't get it
switches
all
and
out.
outlets
Yeah,
and
yeah. There's still
lights.
going to be some evident somewhere, but most cases they'll have switched it all out to Romex and stuff like that. Most common place we see knob and tube is going to be left in the attic and
Attic,
things like that.
yeah.
Yeah. But knob and tube for all intents and purposes, knob and tube really wasn't that bad of a wiring system.
Then people started modifying it.
People start modifying it. We do have
Or
open connections. You
Pests
know,
start
with
chewing on it or something like that.
yeah, but like the open connections, they just used basically it looked like a kind of oily tape, you know,
Yep.
kind of like tar tape, you know, and it just isn't the best, you know. And the insurance companies get freaked out about it, banks get freaked out about it. So putting that in the report usually raises red flags for people. But it just means we need to update our electrical system in some areas, you know. And in general, most of these areas are generally accessible, but some areas you're just gonna have to tolerate that. Hey, until you're doing major construction work,
Yeah.
you're not gonna be able to access it all.
Or if you're going to replace it all, obviously there is a large expense to get
That's
that done. You know, it's
huge
like
expense.
replacing all your galvanized plumbing in your house.
Well, and,
with-
and part of the problem is that when we're talking about knob tube wiring, we're talking about early 1900s, right?
Yeah.
Up to 1930s ish.
yeah,
You know,
I had one that was 1941. That was the oldest house or the
youngest
youngest
house.
house I've had
Yeah.
where it had knob and tube.
It's something that got phased out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But the thing that we have happening prior to that was, when did drywall start being used? 1945, 1950s.
Yeah.
So everything prior to that, where all this knob and tube wiring is, we have all plaster and last,
plaster.
which is super messy to work with. It's not easy to disassemble, and it just is a monster to try to get through, you know, because there's also a bunch of scabbed in little pieces of wood and all that kind of stuff. The official wall back then is
Yeah, the only
tough.
good thing is on those older houses, it's usually balloon framed, so you can
where you can just pull it all the way up to the whole
go all the
thing.
way up into the attic and come back
that
down.
makes it tough. But yeah, knob and tube, I think, is definitely in that running there as well. But you know, one of the less alarming compared to some of the other ones, but it is still definitely something that will
yeah.
scare people into thinking worse things than they should be.
Yeah.
The home inspections, change of seasons. We'll save that one
skip
for
that
next
one,
time.
yeah.
We'll save that one for
Yeah.
next time. The tip of the week. I have some blue tape here. So our tip of the week is going to help you get your furnace filter in and out, change it on a regular basis, and that is using some blue tape. So Mike and I, we check a lot of furnace filters every day. We're checking a furnace filter, and some of them
Sometimes
are
multiple ones.
sometimes multiple ones, yeah. But sometimes they're very tight to get in and out, you
yeah.
know, and you can't, you don't want to damage the filter or anything like that. Some of them have finger holes you can poke in and help pull it out and stuff like that. Let me grab a filter here, just 1 second. I had a big filter, maybe not. So this is one of the cheap little ones that you can see through. So we don't want to put these in your house at all. But when you're coming across this, Michael, hold that up there for me. When you're going to put your filter in, one of the things you can do is you can make a little tape handle. So you basically take the tape, you put it on the top of the filter here. You can put it down the sides, and then you're going to take and you're going to fold this in on itself, creating a little handle there, so that when you slide that furnace filter in, now flip it over, Mike. We'll do the other side right away. So when I'm going to pull this out, I can grab these little tabs, and the tabs just fold down in front here like that. I can just pull these tabs, and I can pull it right out of the furnace filter. Even though the housing around here maybe are super tight, You know, I can still just grab these little tabs and pull that sucker out and switch it out, check it, whatever I need to do. But just makes it a little easier. And everybody's got this blue tape sitting around the house. So there is your tip of the week, people. Put those little tabs on there.
Yeah. The other thing is make sure your furnace is off or your air conditioner is off when you're doing it, so you don't have the suction pulling on that filter.
Yeah,
makes it a little bit easier.
You get that big squirrel cage in there, and if it's on and creating a bunch of suction, and you go to try to pull it out. Could, this whole thing, but when it gets up past some of those brackets and stuff, it could suck right in there and cause a problem. So yeah, so make sure you flip the switch, turn it off, turn it back on when you're done. But yeah, and then always on these guys, you want to make sure the arrow's pointing to the burners. So wherever the burners of the furnace are, the arrow that's on it should always point to the burners. And then as far as changing it on the regular. A lot of people forget to change their furnace filter on a regular basis. I mean, I've gone into houses where it hasn't been changed for years, where it's just caked with stuff. One of the things you can do, folks, home maintenance is not easy. And I never have said that it's easy, but I always talk about it a lot because it's important. Because the better you maintain and take care of your home, the less likely problems are going to pose themselves, less likely you're going to be surprised by problems. And if there is a problem, you're going to catch it early before it becomes an expensive problem, you know? But one of the things you can do to help maintain your furnace is change your filter on the regular. So if you have a 1-inch filter, you should change it every 3 months with a nice perforated filter that you shouldn't be able to see through it. You want it to stop things, you know. Change that every 3 months. Larger filters, like probably a
4-inch plus,
a 3-inch plus. You know, I think if you get a 3-inch filter, you're good on that.
6 months.
Yeah, every 6 months. You know, if you do that every 3 and every 6 months, you're ahead of 90% of the population. Get a tune-up every 2 years, by the way, folks. Tune-up every 2 years. Some furnace guys are going to come out and sell you 6-month service cycles and things like that. That's just, I think it's just generating business for themselves. And if you're really concerned about your furnace, then I guess, you know, but then you're paying $150 to $200 every 6 months, which can be kind of expensive, you know. But tune-up is essential. You do need to get a tune-up every once in a while to make sure things are lubricated, make sure you're not having problems, catch problems before they become bigger issues with your furnace and stuff. But one of the things you can do to help remind yourself to take care of your furnace is to go onto Amazon, find what filter you want. Okay, it doesn't have to be Amazon; it can be any. Most of these online retailers are going to have timed delivery. It's called. Okay, so you can set up a timed delivery to have that furnace filter shipped to your house every 3 months or every 6 months. And all you do is, hey, when that shows up on the front door, you know, hey, that's right, I got to change my furnace filter. And it takes you all of 2 seconds, or not 2 seconds, maybe 2 minutes to run down there, pull the old one out, throw it in the garbage, put the new one in, put some tape on the end so you can get it in and out easily. And it doesn't take a lot of time at all. But it will make your furnace last longer, perform better, make you healthier, cut down the dust in your home. And just an overall good thing from a home maintenance perspective to do. And adding that to your regular checklist is a good thing. You know, I would always suggest people, if you're going to start a maintenance cycle, if it's a 6-month maintenance cycle, I would start it around Halloween, and then you're going to be again around Easter. If it's a 3-month, or if it's a 4-month maintenance cycle where you're going to change your furnace filter every 3 or 4 months, then you would start in October and then just go every 3 or 4 months from there, and just do it on the regular, just so that you are regular maintaining, taking care of your home. If you're paying attention to your home, less likely you're going to have big issues. You know, the people that neglect their home, those are the ones that have the big problems. And you may not have the problem while you're living there. It may be while you're going to try to sell it, you know, and you don't want to have problems later on either down the road, you know. So very important. Change your furnace filter on the regular, putting those little tape tabs on there. It's just something I wish a lot of people would do, because it would make our job a little bit easier, but it make it easier as a homeowner as well. Good tip.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good tip. Yeah. So next week, I just got this set up today to talk to these guys, awesome guys. So Tanner Smith.
Nice.
Keller Williams.
Yeah.
Good guy, great realtor. He's going to be on the show next week along with Bill Miller from Bank 59, Bank High Five. You know, and they're going to be in here. We're going to be talking about answering a question for young people that are looking at moving out of home. Time to go out and live life. Time to explore the world, right? Get out from underneath mom and dad's roof and make my own roof, right? And so these people have a decision to make, and whether that decision is going to be move into an apartment, move into a home, buy a duplex, live in a tent along the side of the road, whatever it may be. I don't know, you know. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to get into it. Tanner
down by the river.
Van down by the river. That guy was. Oh man, I miss Chris. Farley was the bomb. But Tanner actually, he's a 20-something. He's a 20. He's probably what, 26, 27, something like that.
Probably. Yeah, he's about Peter's.
Yeah.
Oh no, I thought he was about Peter's age.
I think he might be a little older than Peter. I don't know, but he's in the mid-20s, you know.
He bought his first house.
You were in the mid-20s about your first house, right? So it is something that most people are undergoing, that transition from living at home to living on their own, and there's not a lot out there about making that transition. You know, how to analyze that decision critically, and then take that information and make a good decision for not only your immediate future, but your long-term future as well. So we're going to be talking about the ins and outs of the financial decision, of the financial ends of that decision, but also the reality decisions of a 20-something that's looking to do their own thing, you know?
Nice.
So yeah, we'll have a great conversation. 20, we're calling the main topic 20-something and starting life, you know? And whether it be graduating college, got a job, whatever, there's just a lot of reasons that could lead you out to want to move out of mom and dad's house, right? And we actually have a 20-something that's in that situation too, Peter. And Peter's been contemplating and kind of mulling it over for a while or whatever, you know, and he's kind of in the midst of making that decision. He's got a serious girlfriend, Kelsey, if you're out there, love you, babe. And he's got some big decisions to make in the future here, and he's being smart about it. He's doing some learning and educating himself on the decision, and I think he's going to do well as far as the whole process goes. But we'll have a great topic for you next week talking about that. We're also going to talk a little bit about house hacking and how you can house hack your way to real estate success. And starting in 20-something would be a great time to start doing some of that action. We're going to get a market update from Team Smith, Wisconsin, and they're going to give us kind of an idea where the real estate market is now as we come into a hot spring, and we'll see where that's all is going. And then we're also going to possibly answer the age-old question of toilet paper over or toilet paper under. Are you an over or under guy, Mike?
I am an over.
You're an over guy. You're an over guy. All right, well, we're going to answer the question for y'all next week, over or under. Great topic today, buddy. I appreciate you coming in here, spending some time with us. We also re-upped our FAA certification today. Way to pass the test. Woo! Tammy,
It was hard.
High five to you too, babe.
Thank you.
But a lot of good stuff out there today, guys. I hope you appreciate the stuff we bring you. We have a lot of great videos out there. Check us out on YouTube. I also am dabbling into TikTok. So if you're on TikTok, look up the Helpful Home Inspector. I got some stuff coming out that I'm doing stuff. I'm trying to do a video every other day to kind of bring that world into this world and kind of see how they can blend together. But a lot of good stuff out there. If you wouldn't mind, hit the subscribe button. Doesn't cost you a penny. Helps us out and gives us one more subscriber, getting a little bit closer to some of our goals. But also the bell notification is going to let you know when new stuff is coming out. Thumbs up if you like this stuff, okay? If you have ideas for content that you'd like to learn something about how to better maintain and take care of your home, put it in the comments down below. I think that's about it. Thanks for tuning in, you guys. Really appreciate you. Remember, the better you take care of your house, the better it's going to take care of you. We'll see you next time.